career. Pogacar then 1 second down in GC. Remco Evenepoel moves down to third at 43 seconds, with Kevin Vauclair in fourth at 1 minute. Vingegaard in fifth at 1:14. With his breakaway today, Ben Healy jumps up the standings. He jumps up to 8th place overall, 2 minutes and 1 seconds behind. Let's sort of discuss the GC guys who didn't have a great day. There were certain riders who did move down in the final couple kilometers, although we didn't see any pictures of it on screen. Primož Roglič was distanced at the end. He lost 5 seconds over the line to Pogacar. He moves down a couple places in GC. Joao Almeida as well lost a couple seconds over the line. A bit of a surprise there for him. Carlos Rodriguez continues to hemorrhage time. He lost about 20 seconds to Pogacar on this stage. And Denmark's own Matthias Skelmose, who was having a pretty solid under-the-radar race up until this point, had some bike problems in the end, had to switch bikes in the final couple of kilometers. He moves down the GC, I think 4 places. He lost quite a fair amount of time. Oh, sorry, Skelmose only moved down 2 places, but he now sits at 3 minutes and 13 back in the general classification. It's not great for him. And also looking further down, Ben O'Connor continues what's been quite a torrid opening week for him. He's now 5 minutes and 30 back in the GC. Did it deliver as a stage? Small GC gaps in the end. Van der Poel's back in yellow.
I think it was a great win for Ben Healy. I think for Year of Education East Coast, it was good as well. And it would have been really nice to see the pictures of Visma Lease bike trying to get Tadej Pogacar back in that jersey, because it's like you said, they desperately wanted to get him in that jersey. So UAE, they have to be the ones chasing down the break, going to all the jersey podiums as well. But yeah, just because it was around 7 minutes at one point. But then obviously you had the other factor that Mathieu van der Poel was dying. So that also was kind of not in the UAE plan. But what I didn't understand was Tadej Pogacar just attacked towards the end. You're trying to get rid of the jersey. Why are you attacking?
Maybe he wasn't aware of a jersey arithmetic as much as Visma were. And also this type of Pogacar, is the Pope Catholic, does a bear shit in the woods. Of course, he will be at the front.
He just sees a finish line and he goes.
Well, exactly. So like time and time again, with Tadej Pogacar, he'll put him in a finale like that, and he will just try to get as many points as he can. And also, by the way, and don't forget, he's still up there in the points classification, sitting in 3rd place, only 6 points behind Jonathan Milan, who will lead that one tomorrow. Is he going for green? There was a couple points not for there. It's not outlandish to say he could be targeting the green jersey and become the first rider, I think, since Eddie Merckx to win the overall and the points classification in the same year.
I mean, Mathieu van der Poel went for the intermediate sprint earlier in the day, where he finished 2nd behind Milan. So they don't have Jasper Philipsen anymore. Are they going for that jersey as well with him?
I think so. I think what's interesting about the opening week of this year's race and kind of the 2025 race as a whole is that the coefficients for the points jersey have been altered. So now plenty of stages like today offer 50 points in the classification. That is the maximum. That's what you get for winning a sprint stage. I think for riders like Van der Poel and Pogacar, who can be right up there on stages like this, where there's 50 points for the winner, 30 points for 2nd place, that then sort of gives them momentum in the green jersey classification. And I mean, Pogacar's been close in the past couple of years. He's never finished out, I think in most of the past like 3 or 4 appearances, he hasn't finished outside the top 5 in the green jersey standings. And for Van der Poel, we saw it at the Dauphiné. That was a bit of a dress rehearsal for what I think we're going to see over the next couple of weeks. We're going to see him go in the breakaway, try to get these intermediate sprints and be up there whenever he can in breakaways and punchy finales, the ones that offer 50 points, like tomorrow to the Mule of the Bretagne. So yes, I do think Van der Poel is a contender for the green jersey. It doesn't seem as outlandish as it may have once seemed. And also Milan missed out on day 1 in that sprint finish. That should have been some easy points for him. He missed out there. Tim Merlier doesn't do intermediates, so I think he's kind of, wiped that out of the equation. So it really is just a matter of Mathieu van der Poel trying to get the one on Jonathan Milan. Yes, Benim Girmay is here as well, but is he going to be able to sort of sweep out 50 points at stage finish? As he crashed the other day as well, not looking quite as good as he once was in this race. For me, it's Van der Poel versus Milan.
Versus Pogacar.
Well, versus Pogacar, and to have the kind of symmetry with Van Aert as well, it would be really cool to see, see Mathieu van der Poel rather, wear the green jersey. Let's not forget the final stage has those climbs of the Butte Montmartre, that cobble climb in central Paris. I'm sorry, that's perfect for Mathieu van der Poel to have his crowning moment in the green jersey.
But are you not just a bit worried about what we saw today, that he was failing to hang with these guys on minor climbs, and maybe he's kind of burnt out after a very intense week for him as well, opening week.
Well, I mean, we saw it a couple of years back at the 2022 Tour de France. He just completely sort of, it went off the rails later on into the race. Last year as well seemed to fade. But I think this year there is, a long-term strategy. That final stage looks really good for him. There are a couple stages. I mean, stage 20 looks pretty Van der Poel friendly. Today's profile had 3,500 meters of climbing. That's pretty similar to some mountain stages we're going to see later on in this race. It was up and down all the time. And he's up there with, Simon Yates, Eddie Dunbar, people who finished top 10 in GC at Grand Tours, Michael Storer, etc. I don't think we should really, take too much away from his performance today.
I just think it's a bit worrying that he was cracking a bit, because it's like, Motor Britannia, does he have energy tomorrow for that?
Well, yeah, he invested a lot in today. He got a lot of green jersey points. He's back in the jersey. That's nice, but will he be able to hold the gap to Pogacar tomorrow? I'm not 100% sure, but he'll be up there. I'm sure.
Anyways, we might as well finish on which riders will be very disappointed about today, other than Quinn Simmons. He said that in the interview that this was a golden opportunity that kind of disappeared up the road. So
they can only blame themselves. Little Trek's teammate as well, Matthias Schermoser, losing time in the GC, not through any fault of his own, just an untimely mechanical and bike change. He loses time, actually a fair amount. Let's find out how much. He lost 40 seconds in the end. 40 seconds to Pogacar, which is, I mean, a lot to lose in a stage that shouldn't really have made him lose 40 seconds, if you understand what I mean. Other riders losing time, I mean, Roglic lost that a couple of seconds as well, but Roglic has been sort of very odd in this race. According to Luke Plapp, who was on an Australian podcast the other day, apparently he's going around the race paddock and telling people that he doesn't care about the Tour de France. He just wants to get to Paris. He's not going to follow Pogacar and Vingegaard on the mountains. So who knows what he's doing in GC. Lipovitz looked pretty good in the finale. He was up there. One can only assume that he will be the team leader. I mean, Bert O'Connor as well will have to be disappointed. He loses more time in the GC. Sasha Vlasov lost a bunch of time as well today, but it's looking like this first week has been a lot more attritional than some people were expecting. On paper, it looked like maybe an easier first week in comparison to ones that we had last year and the year before, where there were Pyrenean and Alpine passes in week 1 as early as stage 4 in last year's edition. From the breakaway, if you're thinking about people in the breakaway who'll be disappointed, yes, you mentioned Simmons. I think Eddie Dunbar might be quite frustrated, but he's got opportunities to come later on in this race.